Yo, family, how you doing? This is your brother Vimera D's. Peace to you, peace to your home, peace to your family, peace to your community, peace to your ancestry, peace to my community, peace to my ancestry, and peace to the nation that you, I, and them are creating. Peace also to the Godic forces, to the Great Spirit above, to the Mother Earth below. Peace to all of you. I usually don't talk about stuff like this, but this is getting a little bit ridiculous, and I'm tired of it, so I'm talking about this today. Ariana Grande is not a soul singer. I am tired. I am absolutely tired of this entertainment nonsense where they will let everybody else do our music but us. People wonder why I don't really get down with Bruno Mars, is because he's an imposter. He's doing our music and getting credit for our music with a new generation who doesn't understand that that is black music. They're now associating that music with Bruno Mars and with people who are lighter skinned than the actual people who created it. Now, of course, the people who are brainwashed are going to say, well, it doesn't matter. Music is music. It doesn't matter who's making it. It's just all, it's an homage to black music. And no, they are not letting us do our music. And I'm tired of that. With the whole Ariana Grande, why I include her in it, and it's early in the morning, so, I got the hair looking natural. But the reason why I include her in it is because I found a couple months ago, I found a video with her trying to do Whitney Houston, which was just absolutely appalling. She doesn't have the chops to do Whitney Houston. Now, Ariana Grande can sing. She needs a lot of polishing because of how her voice was developed to do the type of pop music which is today. Ariana Grande can actually sing, though. But she ain't Whitney Houston, and she sure enough ain't no Aretha Franklin. She shouldn't be nowhere near doing Aretha Franklin. She shouldn't even be touching Aretha Franklin. And that's a step too far. You are literally spitting on black soul music by having this young girl who doesn't understand what soul music is doing anything with Aretha Franklin. And that is absolutely insane. Black people, if you fall for this nonsense, it is time that we say enough is enough. And if you think that I'm overreacting, if you really think that I'm overreacting, I want you to ask somebody who's 20 years and younger. Ask them who is the top rapper. Who is the top rapper of the last 20 years? Ask them to give you even 5 of them. I'll just say, give me 5 of them. Eminem's going to be among them 5. Eminem's going to be among them 5. And in fact, I have found, and this is really what is concerning me, I have found people who are 25 years and younger who consider Eminem the best rapper. The best rapper, bar none. Now, you can talk about stupidity, you could talk about they're ignorant, you could talk about whatever the hell you want, but this entertainment system is setting itself up to take our music away from us, to give us a lesser form of music, make us produce it, so that we are then associated with that lesser form of music, and then to give our music over to other people. Now, you think I'm nuts. You think I'm crazy. Joss Stone is considered the best jazz singer of the last 20 years. Now, most of you don't listen to jazz, so you don't know, but Joss Stone is considered one of the best, is probably the best. When most people mention jazz, and I remember this more so 10 years ago than today, because she was hotter 10 years ago than today. But even if you didn't want to look at Joss Stone, let me back up because I'm getting ahead of myself. Joss Stone is considered one of the best jazz musicians of the last 20 years, and in fact, probably the best by most mainstream people who thought they understood jazz 10 years ago. They knew nothing about jazz, but she was the best. Who is considered one of the best soul singers in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years, in the last 30 years? Most people are going to tell you Adele. Do you see a pattern? The best rapper is white. The best soul singer is white. The best jazz singer is white. Do you not understand what is happening. They're taking our music from us, giving it to other people, and not letting us produce our own music. They're not even letting us produce our own music. And to be honest with you, this started a long time ago. But let me give you a great example. Like, you can literally see the divide happen. You can see the divide happen. And it was so stunning in a 2-year period how music changed from 95 to 97. You can see an incredible divide. Whereas in 94 and into 95, Boyz II Men was the standard bearer of music. You couldn't get, like, everybody was running to be Boyz II Men. You couldn't get anybody to sing unless they were to that caliber. And because of that caliber, from 91 to 94, you had a lot of incredible, amazing artists come out, because everybody was trying to not duplicate what Boyz II Men was doing, but they were trying to beat it. So you had Shy, you had Jodeci to a lesser extent, you had oh my God, there was just so many people. But you fast forward 95 going into 95, Boyz II Men was still dominating. You go to 97, Boyz II Men wasn't dominating nothing. Who was dominating 97? Backstreet Boys. 98, NSYNC. Boyz II Men couldn't get played. Think about that. In 2 years, you had black music hijacked, because what you don't know is that the people producing the music for Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, they were black. Black people made those bands hot. That's why when Justin Timberlake started doing his thing and being solo, the people who were producing his music were mostly black. Because he knew what made his songs hot. And Backstreet Boys, when they got away from that, that was when their popularity went down. Same thing with NSYNC. All of these people were stealing our music and doing our music, while our real artists couldn't get played. You see it intensifying today. Where you have people like Bruno Mars doing our sounds while we can't do our sounds. And in fact, you saw this with Bruno Mars after Michael Jackson died. He was doing Michael Jackson sounds for a while. And then he moved into the New Jack Swing sound. And that whole 80s, early 90s New Jack Swing sound that Bobby Brown actually put together. That Belle Biv DeVoe and them put together. I'm trying to warn all y'all about this. They done took our music. And the bad thing is about it is we've kind of let them. We're listening to this crap, this garbage called mumble rap, while they're taking our true music and giving it to white people, into the so-called Hispanics, which look white and have in their minds a white mind. And they ain't letting us do our music. And this is absolutely bothersome to me. And I don't understand why more people aren't enraged about this. I don't get it. It is as if we are just saying, well, you know something, music is music and blah. And no, let me stop that, because I do get it. Because I've heard people like KRS-One say, well, you know, hip hop don't belong to one group of people. Man, that's stupid. That's absolutely dumb. You try telling a Jewish man that what he believes don't belong to his people, he might slap you. The problem with us as black folks is we don't claim anything. We want to act like everything that we built has to go out to the general population. Hell no. Hell no. When we build something, we need to make a structure for it and say, if you deviate in any way from this, you can't call it that. If you're going to call yourself doing hip hop, you better follow these rules. If you can't follow these rules, don't use hip hop. If you are not going to respect the people who came before you and did this work, don't even think about calling it R&B and soul. We don't want to do that. We act like we are afraid to do that, when the reality is we need to do that. And to show you how far this goes, you have to understand These people don't even want the best and brightest in our community making music. They don't want the best and brightest in our community making music. Hell, when Whitney Houston came out and said, screw you guys. All I'm doing is singing about love. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's what my next album's going to be about. It's going to be all about love. She was dead less than a year later. When Michael Jackson said, screw y'all, I'm about to go out and do this one last thing for you guys, and then I'm owing everything. I'm doing my thing. He was dead within a year. They don't want our best and brightest doing the real work. We have hundreds of artists out there broke because white corporations have their music, exploiting their music, making billions off of their music, and yet not giving them the right amount of money because they say we don't have to. To hell with you, you're black. Yes, we raped your music, we grab your music, we sell your music, we get people to produce your music, but we ain't gonna pay you for it. And that's exactly what they've been saying, and that's exactly what they've been doing. So when I see somebody like Ariana Grande continuously being compared to this person and that person, this black person and that black person, I'm laughing. You better get the hell out of here with that mess. Yes, she can sing, but she is not in the same league as Whitney Houston, and definitely she ain't even on the damn same planet with Aretha Franklin. You better get out of here with that. And this thing with, oh, she was groped by the... Seriously, come on, man. This is controversy to stop people from actually saying, what the hell is Ariana Grande doing standing up there singing anything at Aretha Franklin's funeral? What is she doing? You telling me that you couldn't get Beyonce's sister, who actually can sing, and put her to shame? You telling me that there ain't other black sisters out there? Fantasia, for God's sake? Jennifer Hudson? You couldn't get them. You couldn't get Lauryn Hill? Cassandra Wilson? Oh, I mean, come on, man. This is nuts. What are we doing? We done gave over our entire culture to a bunch of people who hate us and produce music that teaches us to hate us just like they hate us. And now they're putting up people who produce our music. Why? Because we refuse to say, no, you won't. It's time that we say that. No, you won't. Peace to all of you guys. I know this one was hard. This one was rough, but I'm tired of this. We need to stop this. We need to take our music back. Start putting our minds and our hearts and our soul and looking forward in everything that we do musically. Everything that we do musically. Because it is our charge on this planet to do music in that way. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, do your research. What is music for in Africa? What has music traditionally been used for in Africa and in indigenous ceremonies? And even not even just ceremonies, rituals, celebrations. Look up mantras. Look up hymns. Look up the parts of music. If you're a producer out there, man, you should be, you need to have your mind immersed in all this stuff. Understand the history. There's a book, I haven't read it yet actually, but it's called, I think it's called The African Origins of Jazz. There's 2 volumes to it. I haven't read it yet, but, the reviews for it are amazing. So we need to be diving into all this because this is our music and this is our time to rise again. I keep coming back to this because this is important. This is our time to rise. And these people are putting these individuals up because they know it's our time to rise. They want us worshiping their false messiahs. They want us worshiping their false messiahs. Think about it. If you were born in, let's say you were born in 2000. Or if you were even born in 1997 or 1998, the best in every category of music just about has always been white. If you were born in 97, that's after Tupac, and you didn't have no memory of Biggie. So that means your biggest recollection is Eminem and on. So Eminem is the start for you. The same thing with Adele. Adele, boom, just blew everything out the water. And outside of that, you had Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and Justin Timberlake and all of them cats. So everything was really centered around whiteness and brightness on that level. It wasn't tied to black people. And if you are black, think about what that does to your mentality. When you start to believe, if you start to believe that all of these things are produced by white people. Now I can bring this up because in another sense, I went through this myself. I was an 80s baby. Well, in the 80s, it seemed like all the best music was being produced by white people. Well, actually, what was actually happening was white people were singing it, but black people were behind the scenes writing it and producing it for them. So a lot of these white artists will say, if you look at interviews from the 80s and the 70s, because a lot of them were active in both 70s and the 80s, if you get down to the people that they say influenced them, they were influenced by a bunch of black people. They were influenced by a bunch of black people. And the sounds that white people were claiming in the 80s, a lot of those sounds came from black folks. I didn't know that. I remember having a conversation with my father when I was young and dumb, man. I was probably 6, maybe 7. And I'm embarrassed to even tell you about this story because it tells you the level of ignorance that the system breeds into black people when we think we know more than our elders. My sister was a big New Kids on the Block fan. And I was listening to New Kids on the Block. And my sister was listening to New Kids on the Block. She was older than me. So I was listening to it with her. And I remember, I can't remember the name of the song now. But there was a song that I was singing, that New Kids on the Block was singing. I think it was I'll Be Loving You Forever. I think. But my father, who was significantly old, he was born in 1939, so this was the late 80s. He was approaching his 50th birthday. He might have even hit 50 at that point. But he says to me, he says, all those songs that they're singing were done by black people originally. And I looked at him and I go, no, they weren't. And he goes, yes, they were. Yes, they were. And I straight up looked at him and said, no, they weren't. And instead of my father finding the songs and showing me, he just was like, okay, whatever, you believe that. You believe that? And I know he played those songs. I know he played many of those songs that they were singing, and they were getting credit for singing. But I never linked it in my mind because in my mind, they were the best. They were better. They were better than the people who had sung it. When in fact, I've heard some of the songs that they had covered, and it's like, why were these men even stupid enough for even trying to approach these songs? They were above and beyond where they could even ever think about dreaming of reaching with their voice. So when I talk about this, I'm not talking about it just because I want to talk about it. I'm talking about it because I know it's real. I'm talking about it because I've been through it. And if we don't stop it, you're going to have another generation that really honestly believes that everything that black people built, everything that black people wrote, it was built and wrote by white people. It was built and wrote by white people. And you think I'm crazy. You think I'm crazy. And even some of you black people are going to be like, well, that's because, you got self-hatred and you got this and you got that. Man, get off you. There's that arrogance again, man. You got to get away from that. You got to get away from that. Many of us, if you understand what it is to be African, many of us come in with this incredible, intense need to soak up our environment because we are sponges, and that's how Africans are, because they are born in a cultural sea, I guess is the best way to call it, where everything is filled with your culture, and so you suck it in through every sense that you have, whether it is physical, emotional, or extrasensory. You just suck it all in. And that's who I was. So I had no clue that I was bringing in all this toxic stuff. And because I had no clue that I was bringing in all this toxic stuff, and trust me, I've seen other people do this, where they pull in all this toxic stuff, they have no clue. because I didn't know it. I built this system in my brain that devalued black people without knowing that's what I was doing. So I ask you to please listen to me when I'm speaking about this, because this is not just something that we can poo-poo away. They know who we are. They know who we are. And before any of you come out and be like, "Oh my God, he made the Illuminati sign because I went like this," yeah, it's not even like that. That's how I point sometimes. But they know who we are. They have read books. They have written books. They have written studies. And Amos Wilson told us this. Amos Wilson, A-M-O-S Wilson, has told us this. They have done so many studies on us. They know how we work better than we know how we work. And when they tell us how we work, we get mad and we tell them that ain't how we work, even though that is exactly how we work. But they know how we operate. And so they know that if they can flood us with all of this information, all of these images, we'll take it into ourselves, and each generation will program itself to be anti-black and pro-white and to worship whiteness. And this is a problem. Why? Because when you start getting familiar with, not studying, but just getting familiar with epigenetics, you understand that this idea of breeding ourselves to the point where we get rid of racism ain't the key. It ain't the key. You ain't going to breed out racism, because through epigenetics, which is something that I'm just becoming familiar with, you can actually pass on racism through your genetics. You can pass on racism through your genetics. And so we need to be cautious of that. This is one of the reasons why anyone who tells me that they, well, I don't see color. And black people will quickly, I don't see color. Really? Because those people around you see color. And if you ask them if you were white, they're going to tell you no. So you might want to start seeing something, because they know who you are, even if you don't know who you are. Recognize that. All right. So I'm finally done. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. Actually, let me think really quick. When it comes to the epigenetics, I want to make this very clear. We are people who, we like sponges, man. We pull in everything, and we are not apologetic for that, but we don't sort through what we're pulling in. And this is where we are often held hostage, because we don't sort through what we pull in. And we can't, truthfully, because we're pulling in so much. If we were to sort through all that data, it would literally take us, a month to sort through what we pull into it in a day. But you can sort through it if you understand who you are. And that's one of the reasons why, I thought I had it here. Yes, something like this is important, especially when you're young. I hope you guys can see that that's the Afrocentric idea. That's why something like this is very important, especially when you're young, because it can lay a foundation for, and I thought I had the other one, but I guess not. It can lay a foundation for understanding the world. Oh, there it is. There it is. I thought I had the other one. It can lay a foundation for us understanding the world and appreciating who we are in context of the world. If you don't know who Amos Wilson is, A-M-O-S Wilson, go and research him. The book that I was looking for is... Okay. It is not here. So I apologize, guys. I guess technically this one would also work. I've only had the opportunity to really go through this slightly, but this is one that I just recently learned about. And, when you start to really touch your Africanness, and I know most black folks, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to actually get in touch with our Africanness. We want to do everything we can to escape from it. Another one that would actually benefit a lot of black folks. Well, we're not going to do that one. But the reason for that is because it's just not what needs to be done right now. we don't want to touch our blackness. We don't want to touch where our blackness comes from, our Africanness, our indigenousness. We don't want to talk about none of that because it's scary to us. But the reality is, knowing ourselves will help so much, so that when they hit us with these things, we will respond in the right way. I'll put it up here anyway, because I think this is something that all of us need to consider, even if we don't buy it. There it is. There it is. To be sure, the people who do not like us, this is, again, just quickly, they've studied this book. I don't want you to be, caught off guard when you realize that they've studied that book. But, hang on. Here's the book. I thought I had put it across the room. But they have studied that book, but it offers some incredible concepts and some ideas which we can use to develop our approach to the world. So here is the book that I was looking for. This is a book that it took me a while to actually get, and it is actually, man, it strikes you a little bit. And this is important. If you notice, this is about the Bantu Congo people, and this is actually important for Black folks in the United States because I watched a video some time ago, where a couple of videos actually, where they were discussing where the predominant slave capturing programs of the European took place at. And one of the largest groups that were exported over here was the Congo. So the Congo can't even think of the name. Sorry, not gonna get it today. But so to take that energy, I gotta look this up. Hang on. The other one that I was looking for was the Dogon tribe. So Congo and Dogon. But to take that energy, the energy that is laid out in a book like this, and to look at the Dogon and the information from the Dogon, I mean, all of these things are incredibly powerful to us because this speaks to a genetic memory. This is also epigenetically sound for us. So being able to touch that stone and then touch indigenous stones over here will ignite us. And we need to be ready for that. We need to be cognizant of that. So when I present these things, it is because it will help us get deeply involved in who we are. Now, if you do not believe these type of things matter, there is a book by Janice E. Hale, which is called The Cultural Roots of Black Children. And that is a book that every Black person, every Black being needs to have, because it, in a very simplistic way, offers a breakdown of who we are. And I mean, these are simplistic techniques, and or not techniques, but explanation of where many things that we do unconsciously comes from. We need to be studying those things because it is those things that make us strong. And I contend it's the fact that these type of things, all right, these type of things which we downplay, it is those type of things which we downplay, which white people have studied, which they utilize to control us and to confuse us. We don't think about that, but that is a reality. All right, I am actually done now, guys. Long video, didn't expect it to be this long. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. I thank the ancestors for the work that they've been doing with me and the fact that they've been walking with me through this very, very, very tough time in my life as I've been trying to kind of balance a couple of things. And I hope this is useful to you. If you can let me know how you thoughts that you really have for this, and maybe even some topic suggestions. What do you think I should be talking about? It'll help me out because I'm trying to expand what I'm doing these on, and I don't always know what to talk about that people need to hear about. So if you can leave me some comments on that, that'll be much helpful. Thank you guys very much. I will see you next time.